Hello everyone, so today's video is going to be about spiritual practices I love doing. Now I've prepared a few things to basically guide us forward, and I'll be speaking about a few of these practices after I read the list that I have here. Now, our spirituality must remain fresh, so it is best to find practices that feel natural and are even fun. Your path is your own, but don't put a practice down unless it is harmful until you have truly given it your honest effort. Now, a lot of the time when we read about a practice, we dive into it and then we find, oh, it's hard in a certain way, then we put it down. You know, basically telling ourselves different excuses, saying that, oh, it's not going to benefit me or this is taking too long. Surely there are easier routes to achieving whatever that practice is trying to do, and we quickly move on. Now, this kind of this kind of unwillingness to really give something a chance hinders our spiritual development, and it can also hinder our allowance for ourselves to fall into a practice that we become truly attuned with, and even becomes a very big part of what we look forward to every day. Now, whether it is Raja Yoga, which is different forms of meditation designed to enlighten or better control one's inner processes, rune casting, crafting sigils or talismans, casting spells, purifying spaces in oneself, or puja, various forms of Hindu worship, we must find practices that fit our individual soul's natural inclinations. Now, I have found several practices that fit what I think my soul is supposed to do in this lifetime, this particular life that I'm living right now as Hunter Salazar. Now, I feel like meditation is good for everybody. It's a great baseline for anybody, no matter what kind of spiritual path you're on, no matter what religion you're a part of, or even if you don't believe in gods at all. Meditation is good for absolutely everybody. Now, group meditation is something I really enjoy because it allows everyone to focus their energy on a particular task. And since there's somebody else with you, it feels like you both are trying to focus in upon yourselves, and there is support right beside you, because that effort creates a certain energy that you can soak up. Now, as far as rune casting, it's very it's very non-linear when it comes to the ideology the runes play with. Now, to me, the runes are the primordial spirits that make up the fabric of reality. And to really understand them is to understand the different threads that exist within us. Whether it be Gebo, Ewas, Algiz, Kinaz, Isa. It doesn't matter what rune it is. They all have a foundation in reality. They are the foundation of reality, rather. And, Kinaz is opening. Could be protection, but also a sense of stability. Uruz is strength through manifestation. Isa is both stagnation, but also the cold torpor that allows the foundation of reality to kind of have a bridge to cross from that torpor into a greater development. If it's Ansus, calling upon the gods, calling upon your roots, that which connects you to the gods, and then the runes are often called the gods of the gods. So it allows you to link that chain back further and further. Fehu, the benefits of your work, your possessions, things that you gain in this life through a certain acceptance of the work you have to do. But regardless, all of these runes have very big significance for me, but rune casting and understanding runes, meditating on the runes especially, because they weren't always for divination. They were mainly for understanding the nature of reality and the different aspects of it. But with meditating on these different runes, and you can even use them through divination, and I do quite often, in order to try and understand the situation and try to understand where I need to go in reality. But through meditating on these runes, you start to understand the fabric that you are a part of. Now, I enjoy learning about what makes up reality. I enjoy, things like Raja Yoga, which is controlling your inner processes so that you can make them work for you and so that they don't control you. I enjoy these things. And learning about the runes, meditating on them, casting them, you know, even doing Veve type drawings in the earth itself, allowing this spirit to kind of manifest in front of you if you know how to do a Veve correctly. You can even do it for the runes, and Veve is for Vodou usually. But I found that if you draw the runes upon the earth and you infuse them with a certain magical will, your own will, then you will gain a greater understanding, because you're connecting both the earth, your own willpower, and that piece of reality to create an experience. Now, over time, I've combined several different spiritual traditions in order to make the tradition that I use, and you can say it's a completely individual tradition. Now, when we get to less complicated, spiritual activities that I enjoy, I haven't named anywhere near the most complicated ones that I enjoy, that I really dive into. These are only a couple, but the very basic ones. And this can be done with people or by yourself, walking through nature and trying to see the different influences that collaborate to make a symbiotic relationship in nature. And nature is always symbiotic because it evolves through an exchange between life forms and their ability to use the resources and their survival, their evolution as they go on, and their development. It's very similar to how we as human beings develop. We are very much connected to nature. We are very much a part of nature. We are just a more complex part of the nature that evolves on this earth. Nature has produced us. We shouldn't cast it aside. We should understand that to walk into nature, to try and understand every part of it, try to feel every part of it, exchange spiritually through your will, casting it about, really focusing and analyzing things, and also trying to take that bit of energy that just naturally exists in a forest into you through breathing techniques is a wondrous practice, and it's very easy. I mean, breathing techniques should not be cast aside either, because they are very simple, but they are very vital to so many different spiritual activities that one will come to find enjoyable. Me personally, I love walks through nature. I love going with people as well. Kind of adds a magnification to it. I really love creating Veves with people, manifesting a spirit in a symbolic form in this realm, and bringing it forth through basically creating that design, the body, and kind of the nervous system by adding flame. By bringing it to light, you allow its form and its spiritual essence to be one for a very short amount of time. And you really just have to soak that in. It imprints on your brain in a way that you can't really understand until you create a Veve. And once again, that's Vodou and other forms of spirituality that's kind of surround the countries and the islands around Haiti, but they call it other things. However, Veves can be used in a variety of ways, and I love creating those with people. I haven't created one in quite a bit, and what I've been focusing on recently that I really love and I dive into is magic and the occult. Now I'm trying to unlock the secrets to my own willpower, and trying to figure out how I can extend that willpower, my own willpower, in a way that allows me to create an external world around me, a field around me that will bring further development along my spiritual path. Further development not only for myself, but for other people. I try to create a field around myself through spells, through creation of talismans, through, you can even say, chanting or mantras at times. I try to create a symbiotic relationship with the environment around me, not only with human beings, but with every single object, every single spirit, every single god, and have a healthy exchange so that there is an open channel when I want to contact the world around me. And I'm not talking about the world in the sense of the material, I'm talking about the world in the sense of what is behind the world, the astral realm, if you will. Some people call it different things, the spiritual realm. The shadow realm, something that is just under what we see with our eyes and our physical senses we experience, but is really we use our sixth sense to exchange with it, and that's what I kind of hone. You call it sixth sense or what have you. Opening your third eye to a certain extent, opening your third eye fully is far more complicated. But I try to initiate exchange, and I enjoy experimenting with different herbs. Crafting different spells. I take a bunch from different traditions and then try to make a spell that's particular to what I'm trying to do. And it's really what I'm trying to do is make myself stronger in a variety of ways and help the world around me and people that I am in contact with. I try to help them as well through crafting spell techniques, whether they involve herbs, smoke, incense, sigils, writing on parchment, burning that parchment, allowing it to basically infuse with the environment and send out its wave of energy that I've placed into it, allowing it to create its own bubble that kind of bursts but expands into the rest of the world. A little ripple, but if focused on long enough, it can be a grand ripple. I really enjoy learning about, the different realms that surround this one, and not just the astral. I'm talking about, the abyss, the infernal, different pocket dimensions, the causal realm, and where the gods exist, different levels along Yggdrasil, if you will, and hell, which is, in Asatru, and in the system of being true to our Northern European ancestors and their gods. Hell is really a place where consciousness is recycled. It's not the fiery, place of death and destruction and corruption that we see in the Bible. But regardless, I like learning about different dimensions so I can learn how to exchange with those dimensions within myself, because as a human being, we are self-aware and sentient, and we can have an exchange in multiple ways. We aren't animals that can only understand the world through material. We can choose to focus on ideas that are behind all this material, behind everything that functions, making it function, fueling it. And we can reach out to that if we try. If we truly examine ourselves, we will find links within to the different dimensions and see where we need to improve. What dimension are we most attuned with? What dimension do we want to attune with? And we allow our spiritual path to progress slowly but surely as we have these internal exchanges, as we open these doors within. And you can do this with other people. It's not about solitary practice all the time, but I love to have conversations with people about things like this. I love to have, group meditation sessions. I love to have assistance with crafting, spells, or creating an environment in nature where we're basically working with a spirit, a nature spirit, or a god, and then we wipe the slate clean in the dirt. I can give specifics on a later date. I have in videos before, but if you have another person directing their will, that will allow you to fuel your journey, because everything you do is amplified, it's doubled, tripled, quadrupled. However many people you have, if they truly have the same goals as you will evolve that much quicker. That's why it's very important to have a spiritual community, and that's why it's so difficult for an individual practitioner to advance, because you have to try that much harder. Now, study is very important. Walking through nature is important. Figuring out which spiritual system you really attune with is important. Figuring out which spirits and gods you're most aligned with, or maybe a form of, maybe you just believe in one god, and, I believe that the gods make up different parts of the one God, and everything ultimately does. But if you just believe in one God that's separate from creation, really trying to understand how to reach that force, how to reach that source that is beyond this existence, and developing spiritual practices that allow you to get closer and closer and closer. So you have to progress in a way that you don't just accept what people tell you. You're willing to move forward and study things that you might not have otherwise, that people around you wouldn't recommend, and try spiritual things that might be spiritually dangerous, like working with a spirit or casting a spell that leaves you open to maybe even attack. Depending on how far you want to go with it, there's different levels of danger. Now, there's always going to be, in true spiritual progress, there's always an element of you're taking a leap of faith. And with that leap of faith, you are casting your fate up to the universe. You're saying, okay, I am trying to do this. These are my intentions. The only thing you have to worry about in a leap of faith is not necessarily if it is justified at that time or in that way, but your motivations. What are your truest motivations, and how does that allow your soul to progress? And then, taking that leap of faith, you can do so with, you can say, a little bit less faith, but just align your motivations, understand where you're coming from, and don't act blindly, but don't act as securely as most people do in so-called religion nowadays. So just find people that are like you. Find people that want to connect with the grander whole and try new things spiritually as you do, if you do want to do that. And that way you can move forward with at least, another person, 2 other people, 3 other people, 4 other people, and more, and not be held back by the dogma and religious ideas that basically cast a torpor over your path to where everything is understood within, a reading of one book. And these are the rules, you follow them, and then you expect to go to heaven forever. If you expect to go to heaven forever just by reading a book or just by following a certain amount of commandments, then, it's possible that you will, but in my opinion, even if you go there for a time and you enjoy, the fruits of your labor, the fruits of your following the rules, you will come back down here to realize yourself, to realize your true connection to everything, to realize how your soul needs to be liberated from the shell of identity you have allowed to be put onto you by society and by certain religions and by other people telling you what is true and you not finding it yourself. Your soul wants to be free from that shell, and you might exist in heaven for a time before coming back here to truly achieve liberation. At any rate, I hope this video didn't go too far off topic. This has been a video about, what spiritual things I love to do. And I hope that this has been interesting. If it has, hit that thumbs up down there. I really appreciate every like. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, you hated what I said, you loved what I said, shoot it down in the comment section below in YouTube. And if it's on Facebook, you can do that too. And if you want to support me on Patreon, it's at www.patreon.com/darkrealist, capital D, capital R. And I only ask for $1 a month, and you get access to my Patreon account, which I'm going to be producing a lot more new material very soon that is going to be exclusive on my Patreon account. Right now, there's several videos, but there's not enough, and there's some writing, but there's not enough. But at any rate, it's only $1 a month. If you want to support me in that way, I would greatly appreciate it. At any rate, thank you very much for watching, and I hope all of you find yourselves